Good morning, everybody. You are tuned to Computers 2K now on the Nissan Communications Network. I am AMNON, your host for the next couple of hours, along with Gal.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning. And Spence is here.
Hello.
Hello. And Nick is having a little bit of problem with video, but he'll probably join us shortly. Our number is 919-548-9773, Computers 2K Voice on Skype. And today's show is made possible by VMix software and by Wirecast software, and is sponsored by Tom Sinclair of Live Streaming Gear. So, I did not read the Skype note from Nick. Is it just
Just having video issues. Will join soon.
yeah? All
Yep.
right.
Probably rebooting.
It's all right. It's fine.
Yep.
So what
Oh,
is
sorry about that.
happening?
What is happening?
What is
Uh,
happening? What is happening?
on my personal front,
Oh yeah.
I've been busy replacing my network gear. I have a Google Fiber connection, which is the connection itself is great, but their equipment is really limited in what it allows you to do inside the network. And I have a lot of home automation, and so I needed more control over the network of which segments are exposed to which segments, etc.
So you're talking
Have
about
some,
their local routing.
yeah. So
Yeah.
the routing itself is great, but you have zero control other than a very limited UI that they provide, which is okay for most, but the moment you want a bit more, and putting equipment instead of it has some complications. First of all, the fiber jack itself, uh, there's you need to provide power to it. The way their box provides power is over power over Ethernet. So I was looking at power over Ethernet routers, and that's either pro enterprise stuff or prosumer, right? Professional consumers.
Yeah.
My research led me. I've been probably doing this research for about 6 months to a year. My research led me to Ubiquiti with their Unify applications, their Unify network, which is like the whole idea of the Unify network. There is you set up equipment in your network and you control it through a controller software. And so instead of configuring each device on its own, you configure the network and you just assign the different devices to different networks, which is an interesting concept. It was the first time for me to work with that. I've never done IT in that level professionally, right? I've supported IT to that capacity. I've worked with a lot of switches. I've worked with a lot of routers, but never with a network configured network like this, like a virtually configured network like this. So it's interesting. It took me the better half of the better half of the previous night to set it up, and then it took me another half of that night just to take care of the physical location of everything. Uh, so it was interesting. Anybody wonder if it was worth the hassle because it wasn't cheap. I probably splurged around, I don't know, $450 on the equipment, um, and I rooted out two old Wi-Fi routers and one uh, pair of power lines with Wi-Fi extender, and now a single access point provides me a lot better coverage than that. So I can say without a doubt that even though I paid a premium, I got I'm not looking back, right? From this point I'm spoiled because now any network I'm gonna want is going to need to be in this quality. So I really like the results for now. I haven't started the complete separation of VLANs and stuff for separating the Internet of Things from the computer networking and the media networking because I have these um, realms that I want to separate. So that's going to be my next adventure. But it was an interesting experience.
Very nice.
Yeah, yeah. If anybody has any questions about the Ubiquiti the Ubiquiti ecosystem, I I'm not an expert, but I can at least share my experience, and it was actually rather rather good.
And you recommend it.
I recommend it if you understand the network, right? Because I cannot say this is an okay thing for the layman. It requires knowledge. Requires Spence, you probably work with their
Oh
equipment,
yeah,
right?
it's like it starts at the prosumer level and goes up.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Remember when you bought I don't know, some sort of instruction book, right? And it says uh, beginner to intermediate. This is intermediate plus and above, and it's I was actually you know proud of myself that I understood most of what was what of most of what I was doing. So
Yeah, it doesn't come
like,
with a cute passcode written on the bottom of the router for you to use out of
no,
the
and there's
box.
no there's no real quick quick start page
Yeah.
that you can just throw
Wizard,
it
no
in.
wizards. Yeah.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
yeah, it is good. It is impressive, and so definitely, if you're if you need a good network and you also want to manage it uh, on a lot of levels, this is excellent equipment. This is really good equipment. Yeah.
Well,
For those who want to get an inexpensive equipment that is relatively easy to use, has a decent interface, I like TP Link. They
Yeah.
they
No,
they
they're good.
they were originally a design build shop that built, well, Amnon. What was the original? Remember years ago, Zyzel.
nice.
Zyzel
Yeah.
was a company
Yeah.
that they were a design build shop for other people like Netgear and but they started to come out with their own product. And TP Link, I think, had the same kind of origins. But if you're looking for something that you can either go with the wizard or go and configure it yourself relatively easily. I like TP-Link for the price point. I mean, it's not perfect.
Yeah, but they do expose more than their competitors usually.
Yes, they do.
So yeah,
Netgear tends to assume that you're,
you're an
a
idiot.
knuckle dragger,
Yeah.
and that you're not ready to do it yourself. So
Oh.
I always go whenever I go and look at a Netgear product for anybody, I just go right to the advanced configuration and look at it and see what it, because they don't even show you the way it's configured in the wizards. I want to see the nuts and bolts. I want to know why, what's turned on, what's turned off. So
Yeah, and
So
their advanced stuff is usually really, really limited as well. So
yeah.
yeah.
so at this point, and I'm
Mhm.
I'm sure that you have, Gal, you have a lot more to do. Do you already see the benefits of what you
Yes,
did?
yes.
All
So
right.
first of all, I was really weary about rooting out the Google box, the Google Fiber box, and replacing it completely with um, the Unify gateway. And indeed, the first right after I plugged it in, uh, surprisingly, it did get the WAN connection without any issues and routing worked. But I'm doing a speed test. I have the 100 megabyte line
Megabit.
from
Yeah.
Google megabit, sorry, yeah, line from Google, and I didn't go for the giga. And it's symmetrical, 100
Mhm.
up, 100 down. And indeed, I did get the 100 down without issue. But up was only 10 megabits, and so that wasn't enough. And in order to just open a support call with Google, you need the Google Fiber box connected. So I connected back the Google Fiber box, did the test, and with their box, I got the full 100. So some reading. Uh, Luckily, a lot of people have done this before me, so I wasn't exploring unexplored waters. Uh, the way Google deals with this is by tagging uh, the uh, the network communication with VLAN tag number 2. And so and this equipment is capable of doing that. Once I tag that connection with 2, I got the full speed, and I started doing monitoring inside the house between the different points. I got higher speeds than I had with my previous equipment, which all had gigabit ports.
Mhm.
I'm talking about the wired stuff, right? All had gigabit ports, but it was never as good as what I got this time. Uh, it's it's like, has anybody seen the movie from last year, Ford, or was it this year, Ford versus Ferrari?
Or
At the
I
beginning of the movie, the driver, which he is a mechanic, right? He understands the car, and he owns uh, a garage where people bring their cars, and somebody there had like a real fancy sport car. I don't remember if it was a Porsche or something like that. And he's telling him the car he's complaining that the car is clunky and stuff. He says it's because you're not driving the car correctly, right? And the mechanic is telling the
Mm.
customer it's because you're not driving the car correctly. This car needs to be driven in a certain way. Um, it's Once you know how to drive such a car, right? You don't want to look back. So this is how it feels right now.
But good. I mean,
Yeah.
as long as you can already see the fruit,
Oh
uh,
yeah, yeah,
this
immediately.
this
All
is
of the all of the Wi-Fi clients are working fast, steady. I don't need to switch networks. Nothing. I don't need to do anything manually. Uh,
nice.
the Internet of Things items that were connected, let's say a camera, an IP camera, I don't have any connection drops. It stays steady. So it's stuff like that, right? And it's not a big house uh, in any way. Um, it's decent, right? But and I don't have a lot of clients compared to anyone who I've been reading on the forum lines. Usually they have, if they do it at home, usually they have larger homes. But it's like it's definitely worth it.
And as far as cost of the equipment, which is semi-professional,
Yeah.
how much was the cost of the box?
So around 450. That's it's. I bought three components. I bought the USG, the Unified Secure Gateway,
Mhm.
which is their basically their
The
routing
router, yeah,
component. I bought an access point, uh, ACAP Pro, which is I was looking at which access point might be able to cover everything with just a single access point, because an alternative with Ubiquiti equipment, because everything is managed from a single point, you can put multiple access points and you're controlling them from a single network concept. So if I needed to, I could extend it. And their access points, they know how to work also in mesh capacity. So they can be Wi-Fi only. All they need is just power. So uh, I bought only one access point, thinking I might need to expand to an additional access point later. Uh, Luckily, that's not the case for me. And I bought a switch, a power over Ethernet switch with 8 ports. Uh, and all of that took me back around $450. I actually paid a bit more. I paid for, equipment warranty for
Mhm.
4 years. So I'm
Makes
covered.
sense. Yeah.
Yeah. So that
No,
that took
that's
me another 80 bucks, something like that. Um, and and yeah, I think it was a good choice.
and
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 I've never in my life have I thought I'd pay $500 on networking, right? I always, when it came to buying a Wi-Fi router or something like that, it was don't go over $115, right? It's like, uh, yeah, worth every penny.
yeah, and really, I mean, the equipment is the Ubiquiti is a great
Oh yeah, yeah.
system, and it's not just for fiber.
No, 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 no,
It
no,
will
no.
work on anything. And what's the most common complaint of people about their local network? Oh, I can't
Bad
get it to
Wi-Fi or
this room.
disconnection.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and you end up getting another access point and another router and another
right,
and if you look at what you spent, hey, you could have spent money on a
uh,
Ubiquity and get it done the right way to begin with.
right. Definitely, definitely. Now, keep in mind, if you want to go cheaper and get good equipment, right? There's
Hmm.
another option, but that requires you to be even more experienced usually. And you can go to eBay and you can buy fantastic Cisco enterprise level, old enterprise level equipment, right? And you can find it probably cheaper, but you need to know what you're doing there, right? And with Ubiquiti, you get this middle ground, because I mean, I can control Ubiquiti by logging in and command line and doing a lot of stuff through their command line interface, but I'm not there yet. I have a beautiful UI. I have a great, uh, mobile app that I can use, stuff like that. That they give you this middle ground, that if you're okay with understanding networking, but you don't want to go too deep, and you want something that is rather um, accessible to manage, they are spot on.
Yeah. Well, I can't wait to see it. And really, I mean, in our area, if you live in our area, then and you buy a Cisco, everybody knows people that work at Cisco.
Yeah, that's true.
All right. So listen to this. In what's becoming a trend, AT&T's quarterly earnings reports detailed massive subscriber losses during the first quarter of 2020. AT&T lost another 897,000 premium TV subscribers in the first quarter as the DirecTV owners' string of massive customer losses continued. And AT&T executives today say the company is moving ahead with a company-wide cost-cutting program. They're losing, and they're losing because their prices are not good and because their choices, I guess, I never had them for TV, but I would guess the choices of what they have, they're not providing what people are looking for a good price. So, I mean, that coupled with people cord cutting.
Well, I mean, and even if you're not taking cord cutting in, if usually they're going into a place where spectrum is already there.
Yeah.
And what Spectrum does is, if a neighborhood gets AT&T fiber or Google fiber, they just say, "Hey, we're going to give you 300 megabytes for megabits for the same price you're paying for 30." Right?
Yeah.
And suddenly, if you're okay and you don't want anybody going into your home and starting replacing equipment and stuff, right? Just a day of installation can take
Mhm.
5 hours of your life. Then you just continue with Spectrum because they give you pretty much what you wanted, right, for the same price.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah, which makes a lot of sense. No doubt.
I mean, when I got the chance of replacing Google, I went moving from Spectrum. I think it was still Time Warner to Google. Um, I did it out of spite, for one, and because the price point was exactly the same. If I had to pay for installation, I think I might have hold off, right?
Mhm.
Then I didn't have a lot of upload requirements. Today I do, but then I
Yeah.
didn't have a lot of upload requirements. So I would have held off probably for another 6 months. But because I had the option and I really didn't like what I was getting from Time
Spectrum.
Warner, even with the 300, then yeah, I went with
Yeah,
a 100, but
I
100 that actually worked.
wish you send them this way. Morning, Nick.
Hey, good morning.
Good morning. So you fixed it.
I did. I had to reinstall vMix.
Really?
Yeah, I could not get my virtual camera to work. I did a Windows update. I reinstalled Zoom, and finally I reinstalled vMix, and it's back.
I
So
wonder.
was it not working for Zoom only or just not working at
No,
all?
not working at all. I tried
Oh,
I tried
okay.
Skype. I even tried pulling it into like OBS. I could not get the color bars to go away. So
But
Mm.
reinstalling Vmix did it.
yeah,
So
I
you
feel
may,
like that's happened maybe once in the past.
there's something going around also here. Windows 10 is suffering yet more problems thanks to a faulty update, and this one could be its most serious one yet. With
Uh,
user reporting blue screens of death happened here, and I said, "Oh, it's probably because I didn't do a clean install." But it happened only once. I just came in the morning and it was on a blue screen. And deleted files after installing Windows 10 KB 4549951, which is the latest one. If you look in your history, you see that's the latest one. It was released by Microsoft on April 14 and was supposed to introduce a number of security fixes. However, the upgrade also introduced some serious issues, including the dreaded blue screen of death. Microsoft has now confirmed that the company is investigating the reports of Bluetooth, blue screens, and related issue with that update. Um, the only option that you have at this point, everybody's saying, is just go and uninstall that KB 4549951. It's the only thing that you can do, and hopefully in the next update they will correct it. But yeah, I mean, I didn't even mention it because I knew Nick is going to jump on me and say, "You see, I told you to do a clean install." And I said, "Well, let's see."
Whoa, 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 whoa.
Yeah, no, whoa, 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 whoa. You
Whoa,
told-
whoa, whoa,
Yeah.
whoa, whoa. Why are you making me out to be some sort of devil here?
No, you're not a devil. I mean, you're
I'm
actually
just trying
correct.
to, Amnon,
Excellent.
I'm just trying to protect you.
I
'cause
know,
love
you're
you, that's
correct.
all.
I'm
Not
not
the
saying
devil, just the devil's advocate.
You're right, and there's nothing wrong with being the devil's advocate. He's a
you're
great
right.
man.
No,
That was a very fair characterization you did of you. Nick. Come on.
absolutely. I know, but that's why. I mean, I knew that I'm gonna eat crow.
Spence, where the hell are you this morning? You're in like a old IBM mainframe room?
I was outside in the mountains, and it got too chilly, so I came into the data center.
Jeez Louise. It's
This
like
is
some.
a System 360 data center.
Oh, I like that. Okay,
from
cool.
The 1980s.
The reel-to-reel tape
Yeah.
plate machines on the left there.
3420s.
So I actually just did that update this morning.
The
The
4-5.
one-
Yeah,
Yeah, that's the one I just did.
yeah. Well, I mean, they said that
So if my computer blue screens now, then I'm
then you
doubly
know what
screwed.
it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
I went and I said, okay, that one source was The Verge, and I said, okay. I mean, they normally they have good stuff, but let me see. And I just typed the update number, and boy, it's all over the place. So it's not what they make the Verge is made that is the most serious one yet. I don't know. But yeah, they said that the main thing is deleting files and blue screen a day. So if you
AMNON.
do get those again and again, that's what you need to do. You need to
Turn up your microphone a little bit. You're a little low.
all right.
Much gooder.
You need to uninstall that latest update, the 9951 at the end.
This all has to do with Microsoft firing their QA team 2 or 3 years ago. Maybe 4 years ago. I don't remember when it was. They do not have a QA team. They do not QA Windows builds from what I
I
understand.
remember they moved all those people over to develop new features.
Yeah, they have a zero
them out.
QA. I don't believe they
actually
QA.
literally cut, because they said, well, if we're going to develop things in a timely manner, we have to move away from these long QA processes and just throw it out there and let the consumer test it for us.
Yeah.
No, guys, come on.
Yeah, Windows Home, Windows
That's not
10
the way it
Home.
works. No, that's
Well-
not the way it works. I know what you're talking about. They probably moved to what's called in software development agile development.
Agile Scrum. Yep.
Yeah,
I know
that
what it
does
is.
not mean they do not QA. They just change the QA to work differently. Instead of having a monolithic big QA department, right? Each team that develops a component or whatever has its own QA associated with it. So they're part developer and part QA.
You can't say it's better, though.
It's not better. It's different.
No,
It's,
but you have to make sure that one department works with the
QA.
other.
Yeah, but the big QA. So there's also an integration team. There's always an integration team, right? And that integration team has their own QA. So it's not like you don't have any QA people anymore. You don't have a QA department. It's something completely different.
Okay.
The QA is part of the development.
But you have to argue that what they're doing isn't doing what they intended. Because why do we have
I do not agree.
with every release, you can say, oh, there's just too much to keep track of.
No,
Right?
Spence.
No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying before that, we had a lot bigger issues. Before Windows 8, okay?
So that's because they saved it up and they only released it once a year. That's why we had big issues, because all the things that went wrong were all in one release instead of having 3 or 4 in every release.
No, they
So-
still had a monthly release, but it was a lot riskier. The whole behavior, right? The whole behavior pattern of staving out Windows updates on the consumer side is exactly because the risk of installing an update was so high, right? You didn't want to be the first.
Right.
But Gal, I've made
Still
more
don't.
money because of Microsoft's new release system because I have to go in every time there's an update and do something because something breaks. So how is that better?
Spence.
I don't think it would have been different if they had a QA team. That's what I'm saying.
Spence.
I think
Spence.
I don't think you can say that there are absolutely more issues with Windows updates now than there have been in the past. I obviously I don't have a chart to prove that, but every single time they release an update, there are massive issues. If it's not a printer, it's a blue screen. If it's not network shares breaking across the entire operating system, it's a disaster. And these are I understand fringe things not work, dot matrix printers, weird serial devices. But how do you break network shares? How do you break mapped drives in an update? How the hell do you not check that? How about the search button not working? They literally broke search or the search
basic
box. It
things.
stopped
Basic
working.
thing. Yeah.
There's no way they did any QA. They couldn't have because it broke on every single version of Windows that on every computer I touched that had that version, it broke. We had to write a batch script that went out to over 700 computers to fix that.
Yeah.
There's just, I don't believe they're QAing. There's no indication that they're QAing. They make sure it boots. Obviously, they're doing some sort of QA, but they put it out on their tech net or tech build and they call it a day. From what I can understand,
And understand that we're talking from a frustration perspective. I don't know what they really did, and I don't believe they're trying to cause harm to people. But it's from a practical perspective. Whatever they say is meaningless to us because we've had to go. I can't tell you how many times I've had to remote into a machine if I could to fix a feature that broke or find it. Well, how come all my printers went away? Or how come I can't even, I've had that one update that broke the print spooler. So it was just.
But you started the whole thing by saying that it's since they let go of the QA team.
Well,
and did you see what Andrew wrote in the chat? Andrew is saying, what were the excuses when they did have the team?
Well, here's the thing with Microsoft. They're in a rock and a hard place. They've got millions of devices. Everybody's got a different configuration. I get that there will be issues, but some of the more recent issues. Now, obviously, I'm more involved in IT than I was in the years past, so maybe my viewpoint's a little skewed. But I don't understand how you release updates that are they're not one-off. They're widespread issues.
Okay.
It's not one-offs. It's not like one of every 10 computers. It's 8 of every 10 computers, which to me indicates you're not QAing.
I have a legitimate question just to throw in there and I'll stop talking. What's different now? Why did they go, when they first announced this new approach, they said, this is to make the customer experience better. This is to make so we can introduce more features faster, so we can have a new release cycle and all that. But and this is a question, I honestly don't know the answer to this question. Does the large corporate entity still do release testing on their own? Do they still have the enterprise? I know they have Microsoft 10 Enterprise, right? Which is supposed to be the lockdown version that you release to your customers or to your organization that keeps, that you control the releases. You control what updates go out. You can say, I'm not going to release this update because my hardware will break. Does that exist anymore?
In enterprise, yes, but pro it does not, which is a huge issue. So we prior to my involvement at the current company that I'm in, that I work for, we were able to use we have a very expensive subscription service that we pay for that gives us Windows patches, and these people QA it for us, and they tell us what the deal is, what's broken, what's not. And then they give us like a patch report essentially that says these are the details, yada yada yada. we can't we can't use it anymore, because even if we set a Windows update schedule to be, you know, after hours or whatever, we still have computers rebooting in the middle of the day. I mean, like we've got
Hmm.
doctors. We have one of our clients is a hospital, and there'll be a freaking exam room computer that reboots at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. We do not have a patch schedule set for 1 o'clock in the afternoon. We did not manually push out a patch, but the damn thing just restarts and does an update by itself. So it's like you can't even control them. That's the frustrating part. Now I understand for home users, you're not going to have that control, and that's fine. But in a business environment with Windows 10 Pro, when you can't not make Microsoft push you a damn update, that's a huge problem. And it makes me and my team look incompetent, because somebody calls and says, "Why is the computer in exam room 3 rebooting at 1 o'clock in the afternoon?" And I have to sit there and fumble around like a moron explaining that's Microsoft's fault. It's super frustrating.
Yeah, and then they blame you for just pointing your finger at somebody else.
Well, yeah, but it's the
Yeah,
truth.
yeah.
And that's the frustrating part with it, is I get there will be issues. I'm not saying there shouldn't be issues, but when you and and we're the reason that they are forcing these updates out, because in previous versions of Windows, people never did updates. Windows was constantly um uh exploitable, maybe it's not the right word, but people,
Misbehaving.
well, yeah, but no, but you have people constantly pushing back updates. And then, then there's an issue. Somebody there's an exploit, and 40% of the computers in the environment don't have the most recent update, and it's just bad press. But when you release faulty updates and don't allow people to QA them, that's an issue.
Yeah,
Because we literally pay a company thousands of dollars a month to QA builds. It's a huge company that does this, and they do it for IT shops all around the world. But it's useless now because it literally doesn't work.
Well, all right. At least we have Windows 10, and it's not Windows ME with a different dressing, right?
I watched a video on Windows ME yesterday. I watched an
But,
hour and a half video of somebody installing Windows ME and talking about all the features.
but
It seemed
listen
like a
to that.
useless operating system, a crappier version of Windows 98.
But listen to this article. Fake computer chips have been an ongoing problem Intel and AMD have struggled to deal with for decades. It seemed that such behavior is on the rise again, with more fake Intel CPUs showing up on the Chinese market. The post steps through some of the examples of how this sort of scam is pulled on unsuspecting customers. The methods vary. In some cases, companies will grind the label off the front of a CPU and repaint the lid, but you ultimately wind up getting a CPU that's compatible with the motherboard you might attempt to stick it into. Even if what you discovered is that you paid 99 9900K prices for a Pentium Gold G5400. As crappy as it is, the situation only declines from there. Some scammers have been known to repurpose entirely different CPU families. What's worse than getting a Pentium Gold 5400? How about getting a Core 2 Duo that's been rebadged to look as if it's a Core i9?
That's
So,
AMNON's dream right there.
so apparently, I mean, they're doing this, and I don't know where they are, who's buying these, and where they're
So,
being sold. But this is bad.
well, it's not. Okay, it is and it isn't.
No, I
So
mean it's
these
bad
are
if
sold
you
on,
fall. If you fell for one, it's bad.
yeah, so these are being sold on AliExpress and
Okay.
Alibaba. So these are not being sold on Amazon or eBay. I'll post a couple of videos in chat. This also happens, Amnon, with GPUs. But this is
Yeah.
always the wild card. It's always too good to be true. For example, somebody will be selling a 2070 Super, which is like a $700 GPU, on AliExpress for $200.
Hmm.
it's not the right card, obviously.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing with the CPUs. They'll be selling 9900Ks for $140.
So these
Well,
CPU,
it's a $500 CPU.
these actual chips, when they spin up the fake chips, is this one of those deals where they make the right one during the correct one during the day and a fake one at night? Or are these people that actually go in and build a whole new line just to build fake chips?
No,
They-
they're not fake chips. They're old chips that they
Yeah.
go in and they they do two things. They, at least on the GPU side, they reskin the labels. But what they'll also do is they'll create a custom firmware for the device so that when you put it
Oh.
in your computer and go to like HW Info or something, it'll say, "Oh, this is a 2070 Super," and then you load up a game and it's running at 11 frames a second on a $700
does it-
CPU.
Obviously, the machine properly detects from a driver.
Yeah, because they've got bad
perspective,
they've created they've created custom firmware that, now not all of them, but they've created, the ones I've seen, they create custom firmware to trick it. I think it's a little bit harder to do with the CPUs, but in the GPUs, it's pretty insane. If you go to
So-
AliExpress, let's
I
see.
wonder if these people actually have like an accountant that runs the books to say,
No,
hey,
I doubt it.
we made good money faking everybody out. So or we have to cut back a little bit because our fake stuff isn't selling as well as it did. Do they actually look at it that way? Or do they just say, well, it's worth it to go, and no matter what it costs us to do, let's just sell fake stuff. Ugh, amazing.
Yes, amazing it is.
Yeah, here's somebody selling a 2070 Super for $200 on AliExpress. I think this card at MSRP is for like $900.
Hmm.
So it's the old, it's too good to be true.
Yep. Interesting.
Yeah, they're just repurposing old cards. They'll, it'll be a 960 GTX 960 that they strip the label off of. Relabel it, put a flash the BIOS with something that says,
That it's something else.
I am a 2070 Super, and then sell it on AliExpress for $200. At the end of the day, it comes down to you being smart as a consumer. I mean, you're not. People don't sell $500 CPUs for $140.
Yep.
So up
Said
till
I'm
now, I
smart.
thought it only happened with socks
What'd you say, guys?
and underwear.
Who said I'm smart?
Oh, the other one Andrew pushed out, Wish.com. They're really bad too.
Which one?
Oh,
Yeah.
they're terrible.
Wish.com.
Wish.com.
Complete. Everything on there is practically a scam.
AliExpress still has good stuff to offer, along
Yeah, they
with
do.
the crap, right? Yeah, Wish is just everything crap. It's just amazing.
I'll post a couple videos of Linus Tech Tips buying like crazy stuff off Wish.com, like 1 terabyte SSD. Okay, so here's another one too. They'll do it with SSDs as well. So they'll take like 128 gig SSD. They'll flash the firmware on it to make it look like it's a terabyte. So you put it in your computer and you format it, and it says you've got a terabyte of storage, but you can't load more than 128 gigs on. They do it with SD cards, SSDs, obviously not hard drives, but it obviously there's some money to be made with this.
Maybe I can repurpose all these old drives that I have.
Yeah, not spinning drives. I think that's too hard of a scam. Amnon's computer warehouse.
What are you talking about? Spinning drives, the Seagate and Western
yeah.
Digital,
Yeah.
right? Pushing in the
SMR, yeah.
SMRs. Yeah, you don't need a Chinese knockoff manufacturer. You get it directly
Locally.
from.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. This is something that I want to hear what people have to say about this, because I don't know that I can get used to do this, and I don't want to. Microsoft has settled the great space debate and sided with everyone who believes one space after a period is correct, not two. What the hell? They've got
Why?
nothing better to do?
It's supposed to help people on
Why,
Twitter.
why
Come on.
Microsoft? what's the Microsoft spin on this?
That's what Microsoft is. Well, I have no idea. What are they trying to do? To squeeze more words into a page?
No, Twitter, because you're limited on how many letters you
Oh,
can put in the tweet.
But in
tweet.
Twitter, I mean, you can write it any way you want. Nobody's saying.
I know, Amnon. It's just it's insane.
It is insane.
I always add 2 spaces because that's what I was taught to do when I took typing. That's the way it is.
Right. All right.
There can be no change. Everything has to stay the same. We've always done it that way, so it has to stay that way.
Yeah. The next thing is going to be, after a comma, you don't put any space.
Well, after a while, it's just going to be all just a string of characters, all lowercase with no spaces.
Yep.
And your brain will be retrained to be able to read that.
All right. Are you ready for specials?
I am ready for specials today. And I have to say that I sat down this morning with my coffee and I looked at my computer and I said, I'm not going to do this the same way I do every week. And today I'm just going to go with Fry's because we haven't talked about Fry's in a long time. I think they're still in business, right?
Oh, Friday.
Yeah. No, they're still there. Yeah, they're still there. And it just had some fun poking around on Fry's today. And it'll just be some good, interesting things to discuss, some nice triggers for commentary. So today is nothing but Fry's Day with Computers 2K Now specials. Are we ready to go?
We are.
We are. Okay. So it's April 26th already. Can you believe that? I don't know. I was hoping that, well, I have to say that the new extension of the lockdown only goes out to, what is it, May 8th, Amnon?
Right now it is, yeah.
May 8th. So I was happy that we didn't go with like Virginia that moved it, June? I think they extended theirs too, like a day after a day after something that was happening in the state. It's surreal. And who was it who said, somebody came out and said 2 years. One governor said it might take us 2 years to reopen. Oh, well.
He's probably not a governor anymore.
Oh, well, depends on who elected them. So if you are not aware, you can go to Fry's, and unfortunately you're limited to 5 of these all-purpose infectious disease relief kits per person. They have the 27-piece infectious disease kit, one 13-piece infectious disease kit, gloves. One has napkin, like wipes. I look like tissues or something like that.
This is for real.
Huh? This is for real. Yeah, this is it. $12.99 and $5.99. So, I guess if somebody put this together, either it didn't exist before and they put it together, or just found these things and are selling them now. This was highlighted on the.
Do they have flour and yeast? Because flour and yeast now are in shortage.
Yes. Oh, it's amazing how many people rediscovered baking.
Oh yeah.
And there's some great websites out there with what do they call it? Nailed It, right? Where people say, here's what the picture looked like online of what it's supposed to look like, and here's what mine looked like when I tried. It's very funny. All righty. So starting with some interesting things for the car. Inexpensive HP dash cam for $49. It's actually with a promo code, and it's worth signing up for the promo codes from Fry's because you can save some significant money. $29 with the promo code for an F230 dash cam. I would not call it the newest technology or necessarily the best technology, but if you want to dabble with this, hey, inexpensive.
Yeah.
And it does have a built-in G sensor that will, if you do have an accident, will save. Like it's always recording. And I don't know, I think it might be configurable to say how much further back you can save the video, 30 seconds, a minute. I don't know if it's configurable or not. But the point is with the G sensor, it will detect a fast deceleration as in an accident or lateral shifting and things like that, and save the file for evidence or whatever. Do you know why dash cams became so popular at one point and where they were more popular?
In Russia.
Amnon?
Russia.
Russia, yeah, because
Yeah,
there
the
was
Russia YouTube.
so much fraud, insurance fraud, that they required people to carry these cameras in their cars. Amazing.
I still find it amazing that U.S. Insurance do not
Doesn't? Yeah.
reduce premium when you have stuff like that. So
Yep. They have a TrendNet USB 3.0 gigabit Ethernet adapter, which is if you're a technician and you do this stuff on a regular basis and you work on people's machines or you load software from scratch, this is a very handy thing to have. You can have this and the driver on the thumb drive when you're building a new machine where nothing works because there's no drivers yet, if it doesn't exist in the OS, or if you're, whatever the reason, it's just convenient to have in
A
your
lot
kit.
of computers these days don't have an Ethernet.
They don't, yeah. I mean, you look at some stuff doesn't even have it.
Yeah.
So good
yeah,
to have.
laptops. Yeah.
$14.99. I still have an older 10100 one.
Yeah, which
Is
works.
that a regular USB or a USB?
It's I cut it off. I apologize. It's a regular USB 3. It's not a USB-C.
Okay.
So, yeah. So it's backwardly compatible to two.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So 150 watt portable power station. So this is interesting because it's got 4 USB charging ports, dual AC outlets, and dual charging options. So this is $88 with a promo code, normally $149.
Where does the word generator come in?
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
It's obviously has an inverter in it. So inverter and generator are interchangeable these days, right? Because some generators use inverters.
I wonder if this can be plugged in like constantly to the outlet, right? And you have your equipment even using it, and then when you need to move, you just unplug it and take it with your equipment. If that has that feature, that would be
All
a
of them are
real
like
cool
that,
thing
guy.
for
Yeah,
a mobile.
kind of like a portable UPS.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, I thought this was for the compactness. What I'd like to see in this is if it does have a significant battery, would be to also offer 12-volt jump starting from the same.
I think there are.
Yeah. Oh, there are ones that
Yeah.
do it. Yeah.
Yeah.
In fact, I got to use one over the weekend from a neighbor just quickly. It was nice. It worked great. I don't have one. I still have one of the old big packs. It still works, but I do need to buy one of the small ones. So AMNON, this is for you. You can get rid of all your serial cables with this USB to serial adapter, $14.99. I mean, I might still have one somewhere.
Yeah, I
The
have
USB
one
to
that
serial.
we used for
Yeah.
a UPS program. Yeah.
I bet there are people that are looking, what serial? What do you use it for?
You don't want to know.
Yeah, you don't want to know. That's true. You do not want just think about all the configuration there was for serial. And you go back to the config.gist and autoexec.bat.
Just to figure out the baud rate and whether you need parity or no parity and whether it's 7 or 8 bits. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And does your Ubiquity stuff have a USB?
So
I mean a serial port?
So I'm not sure. The router has a port named console. I don't know if it's Ethernet or it's just you.
No,
just
it's not. If it says
I think it's serial.
It's serial. If it says
Yeah.
console, it's serial.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. So this is a very interesting thing here. It's a USB powered 10100 switch. So if you're a technician and you work in telecom closets and do things, right? This is very interesting because you don't have to look around to find. I can't tell you the times I've had to run an extension cord to power a device because I didn't have. I brought a little switch with me because I might be connecting to, build a small network to do whatever I'm doing, or connect to a device. And this is a great 3-port USB powered 10100 network switch, $14.99.
It can be great, but it also can be really bad if it requires 3 USBs to power it.
No, 3
No, no.
ports of Ethernet, 1 USB.
You know how like
Yeah.
some
Yeah, but
external.
I
three.
read it and I'm saying, is it 3 USB or 3 Ethernet? Yeah, it took me a
Yes.
while. Yeah.
Yes. No. I like that when Andrew says we need to destroy all 10100 devices from this planet at this time. Yeah, I agree. Everything
Yeah.
should be gig.
We
Oh,
still
boy.
have analog telephone landline, so we need to start. Well, I think we need to start elsewhere, not necessarily on
Yeah.
10100.
I still have a bunch of I don't have any ISA cards anymore, but I got a couple of PCI 10100 cards. I don't know why I keep them.
I can give you some ISO one.
Yeah. Well, yeah. What am I going to use it for? Oh boy. All right. So this is a good price. Now I can't say for quality, but this is a good price for an illuminated keyboard for $29. Usually pretty
Yeah.
expensive. I think the cheapest Logitech one starts at 49 or 59 for an illuminated keyboard. So 9 levels of LED brightness. So that's 25% off the regular price.
9 levels of LED.
Yeah.
So it can blind you.
Oh my God, I can't
Take
see.
it to 9.
Yeah. Well, that's for when you're at the beach and you got to make it really bright. So it overcomes the sun. All right, we've got a. What I did in some of these cases, I just grabbed the whole screen or whatever. But here we've got a couple of 128 gig thumb drives, right? The USB 201 is $14.99. The USB 301 is $16.99 for 128 gig.
Wow.
I bought my first 32 gig thumb drive at the Fry's store in Santa Clara. This is a long time ago. It was my very first USB 3 anything. I bought it there, and it was a while before I even had a USB 3.0 port. I still have it. It was kind of rubberized. I don't remember what the brand name was. Maybe Patriot.
Well,
But
yeah, go ahead.
it still works, and it was great. It was back then. I think I paid like $39 or $49 for it, and it was incredible because normally they'd be over 100.
Yeah, but
32
128.
gig, but 128 gig.
So I just bought a 128 gig one. Needed it for backup, and also wanted it to be able to boot an OS. Let me just check the price because, yeah.
They're out there. They're out there.
Yeah, but what I want to mention is, let me see the price, because if the price point is the same, no, yeah, mine was $30. Okay. But what it has is it's USB-C.
We can't see. We can't see.
No, but oh, right. So it's USB-C on one end, and it has a USB-C to regular USB adapter. So it's not only both. You can use it with a regular USB and a USB-C, but you also have an adapter handy in case you need to plug in a USB-C or anything to USB. So
that is handy.
Yeah, that is a cool trick.
Yep.
So know that something like that exists, but it still costs twice than what Fry's are selling this one. So
look at that.
So
CDs.
the next two things don't come up much anymore. 700 meg CDRs or DVD plus Rs, but and I still have some. The only thing I'm running low on is probably some DVD discs. I don't know how many I have left actually that are actually quality anymore. But the only time we've seen this recently has always been really expensive. Like 100 sleeve of CDRs was $30. So here you can get it's a 50 sleeve CDR for $6.99. And then I think it's also a 50. Let me see. I can't see. Yeah,
yeah,
a 50 pack
only.
of DVD plus Rs for $7.99. So if you're short, you need some of these, and the shipping doesn't cost too much. It's worth it to get some of this, just to stick it in the closet. Because you'll run into a situation where you need it. It just happens to be a use for it somehow. But all right, this next device was fascinating to me because when I saw the first picture, the one that's on the right, I'm looking at this thing and I'm going, I couldn't really identify what it was from the picture. It was just a bunch of stuff laying down on it, basically laying flat. But when you look to the left, to the picture from the box, smartphone broadcast system, professional audio video broadcast recording system for smartphones. It has an XLR preamp in it for an XLR mic. And it also has a built-in wireless receiver. So you can have you can shoot video. Now you look at it, the audio connection is through a mini plug. So you'd have to have an adapter to use the current iPhones to go from the
Yeah, I see.
lightning to the mini plug. And I don't
Or
know if
or a Bluetooth.
or a Bluetooth, but the
yeah.
point of this is think this is for $99. This is actually pretty interesting. Analog audio out, integrated wireless receiver support. Now I don't know how far that will go. What are you talking about? And the picture that they show on Prize itself, which shows different use cases, is it somebody interviewing someone else, and the person who's doing the interviewing has a wireless mic, or you got somebody who's standing at a news at some location talking, and they've got a hip pack microphone with a lavalier clip. So it could be pretty good. I don't know. For $99, you save $10.68. Okay, now they had a ton of stuff out there today from this company called Fox Summit. There's a whole bunch of stuff. Now, it's very inexpensive Wi-Fi smart plugs, $7.99. I just installed a Wi-Fi smart switch from, where did I get it? Not TrendNet. Oh, I don't remember what it was. But I paid $19 for it. Oh, it was TP-Link. Actually, it was the Casa stuff from TP-Link. I just installed it because I had an old timer on that controlled the lights over my front door that I had set up to usually work dusk to dawn. And it was smart enough in that it had no network connection, but it was smart enough that it would adjust for daylight savings time. Well, it was impossible to program this tiny little screen with 3 different buttons. I said, done. I'm not using this anymore. So because the price of the switch came so low, now I have the Casa switch that automatically has a Wi-Fi connection and automatically detects the sundown and sunrise times for that day, and then turns the lights on and off for me automatically, and works without a hub, and also supports Alexa through the NAP. So this is inexpensive stuff. Wi-Fi LED dimmable multicolored smart bulb for $7.99. They've got Wi-Fi enabled battery operated window and door sensors for $13.99. And then what you see here are a bunch of different combo kits. You got 2 smart plugs, 2 bulbs for $14.99. Standard bundles, a bunch of sensors, bulbs, switches for $59. Now you look at this next one. It's a security lighting bundle. And you first look at it, you say, those lights look very familiar. They're just like, and I don't remember the brand name.
LED, yeah.
What's the brand name? Amnon, do you remember?
I don't know, but
I have
there
a box
are a
of them.
bunch of them.
Yeah, but the ones that sold that were very popular, I bought it at Costco. It was the last item on the shelf. I got it really cheap. I just haven't installed them yet.
Sylvania, I think. No.
What's the name?
Sylvania.
No,
SYLVAN.
I don't remember exactly, but it's a copy of these security lights that are motion sensor. But what these are, battery powered motion sensor with Wi-Fi. Now they don't record video, but they send you an alert. So that's pretty interesting that if you can handle having the wind blow leaves around in your yard, that might set the light off, and get an alert coming in. So these are little lighting security bundles. So that stuff, if you've never played around with this, you want to start cheap, this might be a way to go. They also have indoor Wi-Fi motion sensor, vibration sensor, which is pretty cool. I don't know what the sensitivity of it is. Leak sensor, which is very, very handy. If I have my hot water heater in my attic, I have a leak sensor that is Wi-Fi connected that goes back to my UMA, and then will send me a text message and call me if the water starts to leak in my attic. And I paid a lot more than this for it. Plus,
I
this
have
is
I
go
have
ahead.
a Z-Wave one.
Yeah, so they're great. They're great. This next one, I was at first I'm like, what does a pull cord sensor mean? It is a sensor for people who live. Say you have a person who's older who lives by themselves and wants to have a way to get an alert sent out to a caregiver if they have a problem. So you can put these at different places around the house. You can, and it works with a button or a cord. You've seen in bathrooms in doctors' offices and in hospitals where they have the pull for emergency cord.
Mhm.
Same idea. What a great for $23.99. You can set this up, talks to Wi-Fi, and you can set up notifications and alerts directly with the app. So, wow, that's great.
Well, but if you look above, you have for $14, you have the Wi-Fi door sensor.
Yes.
You can use that as well. Just tie
Oh
the
yeah.
right.
You
Yeah.
could
So
just separate the contacts and
yeah,
alert and alert. But for simplicity and
yeah,
for
definitely. It's
for if
probably
you're
already baked into the software they provide. So yeah,
so you're already you're setting it up for somebody else and you don't want to trouble them with the complexity of it. You can have this at strategic points around the house.
yeah.
I
It's a
still
good.
think the button, if you can carry a button around your you're on a keychain or something like
Spence, you're
that, it'd be
moving
great.
away from the mic.
I did. I had to sit back for a second. Okay. They've also got here Bosma. It says X1 1080p HD night vision cameras. Now, the reason why this is, I looked at this is because they say they get color with night vision. I don't
Yeah.
know that I've ever seen that before.
Oh yeah, I've got a
Yeah,
bunch of
low light
cameras.
sensitive.
Low light, everything I have is when it goes to low light, it goes black and white. It goes,
That's normally with the Sony
Yeah.
sensor, but I can't remember the name of the sensor on it. And a lot of the cameras that I have around the house are like that. They don't have black and white. Everything is color, even at night.
The other part I don't understand of this, it says 3D 360-degree pan. It's a square device. How does this pan? Right now, I don't know. I just pulled it up there because it was easy for me to copy the
interesting.
page,
Yeah.
to be honest. But they've got a whole line of these. They've got an X1 indoor security camera for $99. They do have a doorbell version. They've got a series of sensors. They've got baby monitoring cameras, smart buttons, and so on. And then they've got this thing called the Grip Cam 1080p HD video, battery powered. You basically can stick it up anywhere, $39. So
Okay, so it has a 145-degree view angle,
that's
and
pretty wide.
yeah, and the top one, the top box, that spins. So that's why
So
it's
the
10.
top of the cube turns.
Yeah,
Okay. Yeah.
yeah.
I
So
figured it had to
yeah,
do something like that, but yeah.
it's unfortunate. All they had to do is just photograph it with a
With
bit
the
of a
thing
tilt,
turned.
Yeah.
and then everybody would understand. Yeah,
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
I just was sitting there this morning. I'll research this later.
yeah.
No. So yeah, interesting prices. So the most expensive device on here is the indoor security cam. Then the night vision camera is $79, so $99 or less.
Mhm.
Okay, so technicians out there looking for interesting things to play with. Triplet. They have 3 devices from Triplet. If you don't remember Triplet, it was one of the first consumer priced. Well, it was very high quality meters, not digital meters, but actual analog meters with a sweep needle. That, oh gosh, I still have my old Triplet from the IBM days somewhere. But Triplet was a very, very high quality maker of test equipment. So they've got a professional sound level meter, backlit display, 30 to 130 decibels for $39. They've got a digital multimeter, pocket-sized auto ranging for $19. And they've got a AMNON. What do you call this next thing in the vernacular? What is it called? Do you
Test
remember?
set.
A butt set. And why?
butts
Because
it.
the telephone technician would hook it on his
Yeah,
belt
a
behind
butt.
his wallet, and he'd walk around, and it would
I
be
still
tapping
have
against
one,
his
but
butt.
I have one of those.
it's with a
I
rotary.
have
I have one with a rotary though.
I have one also. I don't have a rotary one. I have one that looks like the handset from a Princess phone. Do you remember the original
Yeah,
Princess phone?
yeah.
But it's a touch tone. But it's definitely a AT&T made butt set.
What's
So,
the other one where you put the toner on one side and then you have the wand on the other?
oh yeah,
Tone's
tone
number.
and test. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I actually have two of those.
Those are cool too.
Yeah, they work very good. I need one that works with 120 volts. So
Mm.
the one I have is only low voltage because I would love to go through my house and trace everything to find out how idiotic they wired my house. Where they made loops for lighting. Like I'll have a couple of lights downstairs, a couple of lights in one bedroom, a couple of lights in the hall, and then back into another room downstairs on one circuit breaker. God, it's insane. Okay. Then we've got some interesting mounting options for televisions here for flat screen TVs. I love this one, the trolley with camera shelf. This is really meant for a video conferencing scenario for an office or a conference room. But hey, if you are doing a lot of this stuff in your house now, where you're working from home and you have a large screen TV and you want to be able to move it from room to room, hey, it supports up to 70 inches. This cart for $79. And they've got a couple of different mounts here. They've got a Stanley large single arm full motion mount up to 80 inches. They've got a low profile fixed flat dual plate mounting bracket for up to 102-inch TV. And it's strong enough to support a plasma TV, which means it says 330 pounds. Damn. And then this other thing here I thought was really interesting. It uses the Visa mounting brackets to make a set of legs for a television. So it works up to 70 inches. So if you want a table mount, say you lost the original legs that went with your TV, you take it off the wall and you say, I'm going to use this somewhere else. Well, yeah, you can't put it on the counter because you don't have the legs anymore. This is an interesting way. For $24.99, you can mount these brackets, 5 different levels of adjustment, up to 70 inches, universal tabletop mounts for flat and curved televisions. Interesting.
It is interesting. The Visa, they're really close by in the back, so putting it,
Yeah,
yeah,
it would have to be some. I've seen
the legs will need to be very, very long. Yeah.
Saw some very big televisions with Visa 100 originally. My 37-inch TV in my bedroom, which was moved from downstairs, has a Visa 100 plate, which is the smallest one you can get for a 37-inch television.
Is that Stanley the like the
Tool.
Tool
measuring
maker.
tape company?
Yes.
Huh.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
weird.
Yeah. Just bought into the name, I guess, whatever.
Yeah.
All right. So then I included this page as just components that they had a page on components on sales. So you want to get a liquid chiller for $84. Well, yeah, that's a 2-fan chiller, a chip chiller, right? Chip cooling system.
Chip chiller.
Yeah, so 84 for a 2-fan and 64 for a single fan.
Yeah, that 2-fan, that double 120 is the way to go for sure.
Yeah, double. Okay, all right. Oh, so I see 240 or 120. Yep. All right, then we've got a Cougar glass wing vertical GPU support case for $129, and then a $53 for a glass computer case, tempered glass. I guess usually it's plexiglass. On the big sheet on the side of that first one, the 129, that's got to be plexiglass. That can't be tempered glass. But tempered glass in some environments might be required. Significant front panel lighting effects, $53.
Yeah, I've got a big tempered glass on my case. I love it.
Yeah. That's so if you're doing any dangerous stuff with bombs and stuff in your office, you have to be careful and have the tempered glass. You don't want to break anything.
Every day I hit it with the hammer just to make sure it's still
to
tempered
test
glass.
It.
Yep. Absolutely.
You got to test it. That's like the old Bugs Bunny cartoon where they show him working in a bomb factory. testing the bombs. So he hits it, and if it doesn't work, he writes dud on it. Sorry. I just remembered that from my childhood. Okay, so we've also got some other just standard CPU chillers there. You know, the clamp-on ones with the fan directly connected to the heatsink, and $38 and $18. And then we've got a 116 gig, 2666 megahertz dual memory for $80, and then 8 gig of 2400 megahertz for $50. And then finally, what would the day be like without some weird stuff, right? We've got a cheese melter, Cucina Pro cheese racelet. I don't know. It's made
Bracelet.
for people who cook and to melt
Bracelet.
cheese. Yeah. So $49 was $59. So order today. The next thing we have here.
That didn't sound very enthusiastic. I feel like you're trying to sell me some BS.
Yeah. Bug Assault, it's called. 2.0 pest eradication device. It shoots salt like a shotgun.
Hell yeah.
I would
Isn't
think
that
the
cool?
name of it should be Salt-a-Bug.
Well,
Anyway.
Bug Assault, right? So it's it actually shoots. You have you load it with salt, and it uses compressed air to shoot like bird shot would be out of a 22, right? It's salt shot to kill flies in the air. Can't make
Okay.
this stuff up. $24, $24.95
Mhm.
was $39. And there are people out there, I'm sure, who are listening who have no idea what this next device
Oh
is.
man.
MP3 CD player, right?
Well, who's still making this?
No, Noxa makes it. Hey, $19.
Jeez Louise.
What a great retro device.
120-second anti-shock. Wow.
That's pretty good. Well, memory's cheap now, right? Back then it wasn't. So
What does it do?
And it
Buffer the
has
audio?
an FM radio.
yeah, it really is pretty sophisticated.
What'd you say, Nick?
Does it buffer the audio?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, really? That's
Yeah.
what it does?
Yeah.
It does.
Hmm.
And the sophisticated ones actually read it ahead faster than normal playback speed.
Huh.
Save it in the buffer. So it doesn't take, you don't have to wait 120 seconds for it to start to play.
Interesting.
This is for a really, really bumpy ride.
Yeah.
Yes.
Hey, it's better than having the your portable turntable in your car. That's always a disaster.
These are for people like off-roaders. And I remember having the players in my car where you had to literally set it on foam on the passenger seat for it to work without skipping. It's pretty bad. Okay. I actually had a recommendation from a friend who rides motorcycles, where he uses something like this. It's not this company, but bone conduction headphones. It mounts so that these two tabs are behind your ear. It goes over your ear and then behind. I guess they call it the mastoid bone, which is the big bump. If you go around behind your ears and you feel the bone there, there's like a bump right there. So it conducts the sound through your bone into your inner ear so you can hear it. So there's not, it helps. You don't have to worry about blocking out. If you need to hear sound around you and still play something, like if you stick earbuds in, if they're noise limiting or anything like that, you don't have to worry about that because it conducts to the bone. And this is what I believe fighter pilots use, is bone conduction. Helps them more than one way to hear audio in a noisy environment. So $59. It also has a microphone, so you can use it for Bluetooth calls. So pretty cool. All right, so XYZ Printing Da Vinci Super Printer. This is a 3D printer. Free shipping. It's on sale. It's normally $22.99 for $2,100. I was floored. I went into a customer's house the other day, and she's got a young teenage son who had quite the impressive 3D printing setup in his bedroom. He was making stuff. I applaud them. Great. And finally, AMNON, this is for you. This is foldable bolt cutters. There's a 42 inches long. Can you imagine the torque on this thing?
Mm-hmm.
It's so long that you fold the handles up. So amazing. Pretty cool. You going to get a set?
No.
No, I bet that worked. Unless I hope the jaws are like super tempered. I'm not sure what they would have to be. Probably carbide or something like that. I have a set of bolt cutters, probably 18 inches long, and the actual jaws on it are pretty messed up from cutting things that I probably shouldn't have cut with it. So, and that brings us to an end of our Fry only day here on Computers 2K Now specials for April 26, 2020.
Hey, Spence,
Yes, sir.
can I make a recommendation
Sure.
for something for next week?
Sure.
Could you do? Have you ever done a Harbor Freight special?
No.
That would be a good idea.
That would be fun.
Yeah.
Could we include like anything?
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people that are tech people need, they have soldering irons and things like that are.
So I
they don't
can't
sell
include
computer hardware.
a plasma cutter?
Yeah, why not? I mean, if you can include a bolt cutter.
That's true. Well, that was for comedic effect. But yeah, oh, that's cool. Actually, yeah.
As long as AMNON approves.
Sure, yeah.
As long as nobody can, as long as nobody's going to get hurt because they're going to go and take something and do something else with it, like inject.
I found the greatest rebuttal of that was done by the Daily Caller. And I want to send it out to certain people, and I'm afraid to. But from the perspective of these are people that I'm still friends with.
Yeah.
I just don't want to take. Well, I'm not going to say anything else.
Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
If that's what you heard, that's what you should do. That's been my go-to.
Well, I'm just amazed. If anybody reads the American Thinker blog page,
yes,
they write some very good articles. They're short articles. They're not going to be long reads, but they got some really good people writing. One is Clarice. Clarice's Pieces. That's her column. And she does a great job. She wrote about this, and she kind of summarized what the Daily Caller did as far as transcribing the actual conversation around the. As it turns out, well, I'm sorry, I don't want to get into it.
But, well,
when you can get into that, 7:00 tonight.
Oh yes,
ATNshow.com.
Yep.
Shameless plug.
Yes.
Hopefully with a working live stream.
Yes.
Let's talk AMNON. You want to talk about that for a second?
Sure.
So last week, I've started a new little project with Against the Norm. And I spun up my own streaming server using an open source piece of software called AzureCast. Now, it is not Microsoft related. It's AZURA Cast. It's an open source equivalent to something like CentovaCast, which is a paid for, it's a front end for Icecast and Shoutcast. It allows you to schedule things, set up logins, and the back end is still Icecast and Shoutcast. So I set this up. I'm running it on Linode, little $5 a month Linode instance. And I thought I had everything set up. And when we were doing Against the Norm last week, or when I was doing Against the Norm last week, a couple people said, "Hey, I can't hear it. The audio just fails." And depending on the browser they were using, the audio wouldn't play, and it had something to do with the SSL cert. And it appears to me that different browsers are treating unverified SSL sites differently, because you could play it in Firefox but not in Chrome, or you could play it in Chrome and not in Firefox, or it wouldn't play in Brave but it would play in Edge. It was very, very weird. And what I boiled it down to was that I didn't have a valid Let's Encrypt certificate on the site, and because the web page it was embedded on was HTTPS, it was automatically forwarding to HTTPS. So if you're
wait, so the content you streamed wasn't posted on HTTPS, was on HTTP?
correct.
So that's mixed mode. Yeah, some browsers, they block that.
Yeah, but it was weird because it would work sometimes. For example, AMNON said he couldn't. And what browser couldn't you listen? Was it Firefox or Chrome?
Firefox.
Yeah,
Firefox
AMNON
and
couldn't listen in
Chrome.
Firefox.
Firefox and Chrome, but I could listen to it on um, what do you call it? Vivaldi.
Yeah, which is a Chromium based.
Right.
But I could listen to it in Chrome, but not in Firefox. It was just super weird.
Yeah.
So I generated a Let's Encrypt certificate, and that appears to have solved it. I'll do some more testing
Right.
this afternoon.
Really, the way that it should work, always your configuration, you should not have HTTP. If anybody
Correct.
puts HTTP, it forwards it automatically, redirects to HTTPS. So it's
And that's what it was doing. But because
Yeah,
the
because you didn't have it.
HTTPS
Right.
stream site, which is at a different URL,
right,
didn't have a certificate,
Yeah.
you couldn't click proceed anyway or whatever,
right.
because it was loading an MP3 file. So I believe it's fixed now.
Did
We'll
you-
find out
We'll
tonight.
find out
Did
tonight.
you install it via Docker or?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is Docker. Mhm.
And so, what's the reverse proxy that you put it in front of it?
I don't know. It was an image. Linode already had a pre-imaged version of it.
Okay.
That was why I used Linode.
No, I mean,
they
the
had a
minute
one-click install.
he installed
Let's Encrypt cert. It's fine.
the SSL certificate, everything worked.
Yeah.
all
Okay,
across.
and Linode allows you to do that.
Well, the AzureCast has got a the AzureCast image that is on the node has got Let's Encrypt built in. So I just ran
I
their script and it automatically generated the certificate.
I see. The way I would do it was, well, I see in their site. Yeah, even in Docker, they run a script, so they probably build like a mixture of. I'll check the script later. The easiest way today with Docker images is just using a traffic reverse proxy and just configure it to use um, Let's Encrypt, and you get everything together, right? And you can add multiple services also.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've got a very different opinion than Gal on open source. So I have I'm not as skilled when it comes to troubleshooting software and whatnot, especially in Linux or Unix. And I've just dealt with so many open source projects that run on Linux, and I never have any luck with it. I always have bad luck. This software has got an incredible amount of documentation, and for an open source piece of software, I mean, literally anybody could install this. It's so simple.
Famous
So-
last words.
No, I mean seriously, everybody is, well, not everybody. Tech people has, everybody's, installed something from a GitHub or whatever, and just run this, get this file and extract it and then run it, and it just works, and it doesn't work, and then you're, digging through Apache code to try to figure out what the hell the issue is. It's nice when a compiled open source piece of software just works.
Yeah.
And that's what this did. Cause I'm not good at troubleshooting this kind of stuff. It's just not my forte. So,
But
Yeah.
you fixed it.
I did, because I went to their website, and part of their documentation was with it had the Let's Encrypt information. So they provided that and made it all available, which I really appreciate. So,
All right.
yeah.
Um,
AzureCast, if you're interested, check it out.
Gal started talking about mentioned the SMR drive. So news emerged last week that WD, Seagate, and Toshiba are all shipping hard drives using shingled magnetic recording, SMR, a slower form of HDD technology that can result in reduced performance in some types of workloads. But without disclosing that critical bit of information in marketing materials or specification sheets. So they snuck it in. The backlash has been swift, and now WD is striking a conciliatory tone with its customers in an update to its blog. The company also divulged that it is also shipping SMR technology in some of its WD Blue and WD Black hard drives for desktop PC and laptops. So it's just amazing that how fast they responded to this. And
Why?
here
Why did they do it?
it's cheaper.
But components are cheaper? Is that what it
The
was?
whole drive is cheaper.
Oh, okay.
And
I'm wondering why would they
here-
have software that was
is-
cheaper?
here is some of the. Let me see if I can. Oh, make it a little bit bigger. If you see all these, so they have them in the 2 terabytes.
Even the
3
reds are NAS level, right?
Yeah.
Right. So Seagate said that they will never put shingles in NAS storage. That was an official
I didn't see,
response.
but you can see here if you bought any of these drives. It is very interesting.
It is very disappointing, you mean?
Very disappointing. Yeah, but it's interesting that they actually do stuff like that. I mean, it's amazing.
Yeah. So Seagate's output response was that I read it in Ars Technica, I think, is that they do that on desktop desktop drives,
Yeah.
but it will never happen in NAS device. So suddenly they became the the NAS community favorites because they at least acknowledge that it is a diminished technology. It's a technology that takes them backward, and that at least in professional settings, you get what you pay for, and you don't get SMG.
Oh, the point is that they felt the backlash from the users and they did something about it. Western Digital. Now I'm sure Seagate also. I don't know if you can get money back.
I
I
doubt
have
it.
no idea.
They've never been big on
Refunding.
on refunding on anything, even when it's their fault. So.
All right. Here's something else interesting. The popular anti-malware software Malwarebytes is releasing a new Windows VPN service called Malwarebytes Privacy.
Ugh.
The company
They've
says
all done this.
the what?
They've all done this.
Oh yeah.
Let's put it this way: a company that puts malware in her name, right? That's probably the main reason I've never used any product of theirs. I don't trust them.
It was
I've never
useful at
trusted them.
times. It was useful at times. You have to use it in conjunction with other products.
But it's interesting that they are. I mean, at this time when there's so many problems, they figured that people will say, "Oh, Spence, is that what you just got?
That's it.
Wow, look at Spence's new motorcycle with a sidecar." Nice.
Yeah, it's only 10 inches high. No, it's a real Ural 2007 Ural
Nice.
built based on the
Congratulations.
original BMW R75 from Germany during World War II.
Now we talked a
Let
lot
me-
about Zoom. Well, Zoom Video has been lambasted for its security flaw. over and over and over. But the backlash hasn't slowed growth. The company reported a 50% surge in use of the online meeting application in the past 3 weeks. So,
Use doesn't relate to making money. They're giving it away for free for
no,
most
I
part.
mean, the free one will work for a lot of people. But
Well, they
still.
waived the time limit.
No, they didn't.
No, they didn't.
Oh, I got something showing that they waived the time limit.
Mine still has a time limit. My free
Does?
account.
Well,
Mhm.
maybe you have to fit a certain category of user. I know there are online classes that are being taught now with Zoom that they've waived the time limit.
And if you have a Facebook profile, threat actors are selling over 267 million Facebook profiles for $623 on dark websites and hacker forums. While none of these records include passwords, they do contain information that could allow hackers to perform spear phishing or SMS attacks to steal credentials. Last month, security researchers discovered an open Elasticsearch database that contained a little over 267 million Facebook records, with most being users from the United States. For many of these records, they contain a user full name, phone number, and a unique Facebook ID. The ISP hosting the database eventually took the server offline after being contacted by those researchers. They didn't know that it was there, so they got on. But 267,000. And that's something. And only
That's actually not a big number, considering. Are these hand-picked profiles? They went through the list and said, "This one looks good. This one, I think people are going to want this one. I think this one's good."
yeah. And here's
So
something.
they grabbed it from a security researcher.
No, the security researcher discovered it. Security researcher Bob Diachenko discovered an open Elasticsearch database. And he let them the ISP know, and the ISP took it down.
So the ISP database. Okay, that's what I was missing.
No, the ISP where that site was hosted. Where
That's
the
it.
database
So
where the
we
database.
don't know who hosted that.
They don't mention it.
I see. Strange.
Now here's something that you can do right now. I mean, not that maybe Spence will be able to explain what's the big deal about it. Is BGP safe yet? Is a new site that names and shames internet service providers that don't tend to their routing. For more than an hour at the beginning of April, major sites like Google and Facebook sputtered for large swaths of people. The culprit wasn't a hack or a bug. It was problems with the internet data routing standard known as the Border Gateway Protocol, which had allowed significant amount of web traffic to take an unexpected detour through a Russian telecom.
Yowza.
Yeah. For Cloudflare CEO Matthew Prince, it was the last straw. BGP disruptions happen frequently, generally by accidents, but BGP can also be hijacked for large-scale spying, data interception, or as a sort of denial of service attack. So now you can go, if you open another window, you can go to isbgpsafeyet.com. And you can
It has
just
been around. It has been around forever.
What is BGP?
One of the first routing protocols.
Oh yeah.
It scales incredibly, although you do have to build the whole point of it, border control,
Right, that's the
You
thing.
build, it's what
I
it's
mean,
an aggregation point for traffic to go between different entities, so to speak.
I
Safe.
went in there and I clicked on Spectrum and it says not safe or unsafe or something. So
Yeah.
if you go to isbgpsafeyet.com, you just click on your ISP and you can see a list of ISPs there and they tell you who's secure and who's not secure. Now, what can we do about it? I have no idea.
Well, it's mainly used in carriers. It's not
Right.
necessarily what a company, if a company builds their own private network, they're probably going to use, well, it depends. If you're a Cisco based, going to push you towards their protocols. But OSPF is one that was
No,
now
my
not
point,
up to date on
my
routing.
my point is, if you go there now and you see that your ISP is not
Right.
safe, what do you do about it?
Nothing.
It's nothing
You
that's
have,
on
you have
your
no
end.
control over it. You have
Yeah.
no control.
So what's the point?
To know.
Yeah, but no,
Just
but
to
who
know.
cares if you know? It's like knowing you're going to get hit by a car.
Yeah.
What do you do? Stay inside your house?
Hopefully that shaming part of the thing will do something. I don't know.
I doubt it.
Well, it's in our plan for 2030 to eliminate all those nodes that use BGP. So please stand by.
Ah, I see. The problem is certificate-based routing. There's no trust between them, so somebody can steal a route just by hooking up to their network. Yeah, that can be a problem.
Yeah. So
It's amazing how this stuff comes out after all these years.
Yeah, I think is BGP safe? I think the site is Cloudflare's, right?
yeah, it is.
And they have what they deem as safe. So obviously there is a marketing issue here.
Yeah, but there's a bunch of.
I didn't know that they are an ISP though.
Cloudflare had a massive downtime this past week. Their backend was down for like 3 freaking hours. It was a disaster.
Yeah, but that's safer.
It was in like, it started at like 9 a.m. Eastern. It was not good. Cloudflare just completely crapped out.
Now, here's something about Google. Google will now require all of its advertisers to verify their identities and countries of origin. The new rule expands a policy previously reserved for political ads, and it comes as a web platform's attempt to contain scams and false information about the coronavirus pandemic. Users will start seeing disclosures with their advertisement this summer, starting with companies in the US and then expanding worldwide. Now, you have to prove to Google who you are. You have to show, if you're a company, you're a corporation, you have to show articles of corporation. You have to show papers that are notarized, whatever, and all that. And I'm sitting there and I'm reading this article and I'm saying, wow. You heard how Nick said he just went on the node and generated a secure certificate. Back in the 80s and 90s, you couldn't do that. In order to get an SSL certificate from anybody, but back then it was only, I think, 1 or 2 companies. You had to fax in your articles of incorporation. You have to go and notarize papers that this is who you are and everything in order to get an SSL certificate. Today, you just go and do
or
it.
you needed to bake your own.
Not back then.
But it wouldn't be a trusted one. That's what you're talking about. The
Back
problem
then,
is a trusted SSL. No, everybody can generate. The
now
problem
everybody can. Yeah, everybody can generate.
No. The difference between the process that you're describing, right, and what happens today is today I can generate an SSL certificate that will be trusted by the world, right? And the browser will allow me to hook up to an HTTPS one and won't give me a warning that the SSL isn't trusted.
I don't know if you can on your own. You have to go through somebody.
Yeah, that's what you do with Let's Encrypt. Let's
Right.
Encrypt automates
Let's
the
Encrypt
process.
or any of the other ones. Yeah.
The only thing Let's Encrypt does today is just trust that you are the owner and you are actually hosting
right.
whatever you're signing.
Right.
But still, if you want a certificate and the level that Microsoft provides or Google provides when you go to the site, you need to go through everything that you described, right, to buy such a certificate. Let's Encrypt is just means we're encrypted. It's not necessarily safe. You do not know who I am.
Right. It doesn't prove who you are. It doesn't give you, I mean, if you go to a site and it says SSL, it used to be back in the old days. If you saw that, you knew that you're at the right place. Not today.
Well, you knew that somebody paid money.
No. Back then, when you got a
VeriSign, right? VeriSign was the big one,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Back then, you knew that somebody paid money to VeriSign, and VeriSign had the reputation of being honest about it.
But
right?
But VeriSign will not issue you
that's
without
correct.
all these papers, even if you just needed it for a checkout.
That's correct.
Yeah,
that's correct. No, I'm the only reason I'm mentioning all of this is we need to make sure, one, everybody is using HTTPS, even if it's a crap website.
Right.
That's number one. And that's just to protect yourself from hackers that are listening in.
To encrypt the transaction, the communication back and forth. Yeah.
Right. And
SSL stupid.
Yeah.
It is because
stupid smart.
No, it's not. It's absolutely stone cold retarded what they've done with SSL. They have given, and now the fact that anybody can generate a trusted SSL certificate is stupid. And the fact that
that's exactly what I'm fighting against. This type of talk. It's not stupid.
It is stupid.
Smart.
Bullshit. It's smart.
No. Wait.
Listen,
let me tell you why it's stupid.
Let me complete the entire train of thought. Why it's important. Do you send your bills on a postcard or do you send in an envelope?
Wait, Gal.
Okay, no.
Gal,
okay,
Gal,
I send it in an envelope. Yeah,
Gal,
exactly.
Okay,
Gal, hold it, guys. You're talking about the same thing. I think what Nick is trying to say and what you're trying to say. People got used to think that SSL means I am secured on this website.
People are stupid. So let's start there.
Well, no, but they're not stupid. No, they're not stupid. They've been trained that if you have an SSL certificate, it's valid. So me as a hacker, me as a scam artist, spin up some fake website where I'm selling bullshit and buy it, get an SSL cert from Let's Encrypt, and people now go on there and give me their private information.
Right. Some people,
so but the way to fix it is education, as with anything, right?
Okay.
Right.
Agreed.
How do you educate a user?
So, Nick, you can't say that SSL is stupid. The way that they are using the same word SSL today just for the communication is wrong. They should have called it something else.
Well, the way
encryption.
That Google and these other services have essentially forced websites to use SSL, or risk getting deranked, has created it so that every single website has SSL, which used to be something that people looked at and said, "Oh, this is a trusted source."
Right.
But there are levels of SSL.
What do you mean?
No.
All you see is a padlock in your browser.
No.
Yes.
Go to your Let's Encrypt self-signed site right now and go to Google and see the difference. There is a difference, and you need to be trained to look for that.
But there isn't a difference. I'm literally looking at, but there's not. The browser doesn't show me the difference. It shows me a green padlock on both.
Oh.
It shouldn't show you a green padlock on your own.
It does.
Then your browser is stupid.
Well,
no.
That's where we are.
60% of the public uses. I've got a green padlock on Google and a green padlock on ATNShow.com.
We used to tell people not that if when you go to buy something, to pay for something, if the padlock is there, then people cannot intercept it in between. We used to tell people for years that if you see the padlock there, then that means that you are buying from whoever you think you are buying. And that's what changed. If they called it something else and SSL kept on being, this is where you know who it is. But everybody needs to have encryption. Now there's TLS, right? So call it something else, even if it was something similar. But now you make people think, okay, if they have an SSL, that is definitely Microsoft.com.
Well, it's not even that. I'm
And
not worried
it's-
about people stealing the information. I'm worried about users that go to a website and see that padlock and think this is a place I
Right.
can trust to
But-
give my information.
But Gal is talking about people stealing the information in transit, which
Yes,
is
and-
also
and-
important.
Right.
That is absolutely important.
And that
for
is
sure.
where you're exposed a lot more.
Correct. But in my opinion, the bigger risk is fraudulent websites
Yeah.
that are
Right.
posing as legit because they can generate a Let's Encrypt
Right.
certificate. And the reason is because
But-
Google and Apple have forced everybody to generate certificates, which is stupid.
Without
It's
that's-
stupid.
Okay, so now I'm circling back to the news article that started this discussion, right? And that's how it should have been probably from the first time, because what do we have today, right? We have those scammers who do not need to be identified in any way, advertising on your Facebook feed or in your Google search results, right? And they are fraudulent. So the problem was, right, that Google never vetted anyone who they paid money to on ad revenue,
Correct.
right? That was the problem, and sounds like finally they're starting to fix it. And
There-
that
I
is
just-
a very important thing.
I just don't understand why I have to generate an SSL certificate for a website like atnshow.com. That to me is just uncomprehendibly stupid.
That's
Because
you
there's
don't.
no other way of
No,
encrypting
wait.
Yeah, but here's the thing. I don't need
Hold it,
encryption.
hold
But
it.
if I don't put,
Hold it. You don't have to.
I do.
No, you don't.
I do.
No, it means in
Wait,
order to
hold
show
it.
up.
Hold it. You don't, and things will
I
keep
do.
on working. No, you don't, and things will keep on working. But Google will derank you.
Okay, exactly. Emma.
That's
so you
the
need to.
but no.
You
But
need
the
to.
website will work.
Okay, yes, absolutely. And if you pour bad gasoline in your car will continue to drive.
Will
for a
continue
period
to
of time.
drive. That's correct.
Yeah, I mean, you need an SSL certificate if you
Yeah.
have a website in 2020.
Right,
I don't
absolutely.
understand that.
And
That's
that's the thing.
my frustration.
They
is for
used to be-
websites.
There used to
for-
be a
for-
different name for the certificate that actually proves who you are. I can't remember the name.
It's
of
not
it.
even proving who you are.
No.
It's
No,
the-
right now
no.
it's not. Right now,
Not-
it's
right
just
now
proving
it's
ownership.
not. I'm talking
Yeah.
about back then. You could have gotten just a cheaper, a 25 or a year or $50 a year, but you could also pay 10,000 a year for a certificate. I mean, and in between, and there was
Yeah.
something about that this certificate is actually it proves that you are who you are. It wasn't just for that. It was a different way. It still
It's like
showed
a
the
Twitter
same thing.
verified account. It's the same idea,
I
right?
can't- yeah, something like
so
that.
full of shit. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, it's just that you prove to somebody that you are whoever you are.
Yeah.
Right? Look,
Yeah, it-
everything that has to do with security and encryption has to do with trust, right? And establishing trust.
Mhm.
At the beginning, everybody trusted VeriSign. They were probably the only big player at the beginning,
Right.
right? It's like ICANN. They were the only one assigning
Yeah.
domain names,
Yeah.
right? So at the beginning, there were very few entities who did that. Now there's a slew of entities, and there is one that does it for free.
Right.
And there is a lot of merit and it makes ton of sense for the one that makes it free. But there is a distinction, right? And if you're going to pay somebody just because they have a badge that shows that they are official, right? Doesn't mean that you do not need to check where that badge comes from.
Mhm.
Now, unlike
police officer that knocks on your door, right? Just by the fact that they look the part, you start believing that. Here you get the benefit of knowing where it came from. If it's from Let's Encrypt, it's a personal certificate. Anyone can make it, and that's what we need to educate everyone. If you're going to pay money to somebody that has just a Let's Encrypt badge, right? Then think twice. Think, why are you doing it? If you know the person, fine. If you do not know them, if you do not have a personal acquaintance, don't go there. It's as simple as that. And that's what we need to train people. That's what we need to educate people with.
Yeah, educate people. I don't know about
Yeah.
train people, but yeah, educate people to that.
What really realistically needs to happen here is that the onus needs to be on these browsers to differentiate what they are doing based on certificates.
But
I remember they used to do it.
They used to, and Google got rid of it. So now everybody's got, if you have a valid SSL certificate, everybody has got a padlock now. Now, if you've got mixed content, you've got a padlock with a triangle.
Yeah.
But,
Right, but there
there's
used
no
to be
green,
a green bar.
There's not anymore. They got rid of that.
And-
It's gone
and-
in Chrome.
And let me tell you something: the ability to actually prove that this is who it is has gone out the window when cheaper certificates came about.
Oh yeah.
More than 10
Yeah,
years ago. More than 10 years ago.
I agree, but that's when they introduced the green and yellow
Yeah,
status
right.
of the certificate.
I
And
think
they got rid of it.
I think they need to have a completely new thing. I mean, I'm looking at my browser and I have 3 icons to the left of the HTTPS. It shows that I'm blocking this. It shows the pad. It shows, have a system that it's only for prove who you are. Charge for it, because only people that really need to, not everybody needs that.
No, for example, my websites, I do not collect or transfer
Right,
any information.
exactly.
There is no reason I need an SSL certificate,
No.
except for I don't want to be delisted by Google.
Right.
That's the only reason I have one.
And they can keep the way that it is right now, that you have to have an SSL. I see no problem with that. It
No,
should be
neither do
the standard, but they should have something that will tell you that that site is legitimate, and that should be completely separate from SSL. We started SSL for legitimacy, and encryption, and we went away with it, but people still think that it's legitimate, and that's where the problem
Exactly.
resides.
And I think the big fault here is on companies
Oh,
like
the co-
Google
oh,
and
yeah.
Apple
Oh yeah,
that essentially forced every single website to get an SSL certificate.
no. You can't blame them for that. You can blame them for doing it without thinking, but we also need to have something that will tell people that this is legitimate. I cannot tell people anymore today. If you go to this site and there is a shield there, or there's a padlock, don't worry. That means that you are at the right place and you can pay
Exactly.
them your money. No,
Mhm.
I can't say that anymore.
Yeah. Now, fortunately, from years past, almost everybody uses Stripe and or PayPal for their payment processing. So that in itself is
Right.
great.
That's
Is great.
different. Right. They have to worry
But-
about that.
But I'm not necessarily as much worried about payment information, because I don't think anybody rolls their own payment processing anymore. It's not cost effective to do. Everybody is using PayPal or Stripe.
Right, but it's
Um,
not just for payment. It's for anything, your
Yeah,
password.
but it's for
your
any sort of
ID,
data or
your-
information.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, payment information is not necessarily the worst thing in the world.
No, but that's what, back then, that was a big thing.
Correct, yeah.
People did not worry about putting their username, address, and all that until we started saying, hey, you need to protect that.
exactly. So that's
Yeah,
all.
yeah,
It's just frustrating.
Yeah, it is frustrating. It is frustrating, and there need to be something like that. And it doesn't have to be anything fancy. It just needs to be an authority that will issue.
Well, as Gall
these-
said, they used to have it. They used to have the green
Yeah.
padlock, but they don't have it anymore. They got
No.
rid of it. And they got rid of it. It doesn't even say HTTPS anymore. The way
Right.
to view if it's HTTPS is you have to click on the
Yeah, because
hyperlink and press the back arrow, and then it'll say https://www.
Okay, so what can you do? Because we're getting short on
at
time,
this
right?
point, we
Yeah.
cannot do anything.
You
No,
should
no.
To-
turn,
Think.
Think.
unsubscribe from the internet. Don't use the
Right.
internet.
Right, but what can people use to help them identify this? One of the better solutions is an extension called Web of Trust, WOT. It adds an icon to the extension
Oh,
toolbar, and it's basically a crowdsourced trust review, right? So if you see something that somebody else never visited, then it isn't vetted out at all. If you see something that I don't know, 30, 40 people already visited and rated, then you get a trust rating and why it is untrusted or not. And so that's a good place to start if you feel you don't have the ability of understanding whether something is legit or not, and especially if you've been bitten in the past, use Web of Trust. It's available for all of the web browser.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, I can see ways that it can be abused, but I don't think
Uh,
anybody is going to go for it. I
so
mean, I can get
you-
50. I can get 50 of my friends to go to my fake site and say, "Hey, just go there and do this, do this, do." And after about a month, I have a trust, so to speak. But I don't know
right.
that. I don't know that somebody who's trying to pull a scam will go through all this.
I'm
Right.
doing those on my. I'm running this on my site right now and rating it so that I have
Yeah.
this.
So you'll have one
nice.
rating, right?
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah. Never trust a single rating. 5 ratings. Always trust more.
Well, yeah, but see,
It's-
that's
Yeah.
also, but that also creates that also creates a bad,
Uh, Nick,
a bad illusion as well, because this
Right.
plugin on Chrome only
It's
has
not-
11,000.
Nick, but there's
ratings.
something
Yeah.
like this that exists today, very nice on eBay. Oh, I only sold 3 things.
Yeah.
Are you going to
Yeah.
buy
Mhm.
from me?
Probably.
Right.
They no. Most cases,
no.
no.
No, you're completely right. That's why early sellers sell very cheap and very small stuff. They negate the rating. Yeah.
Yeah, because
There's
people
one
don't
other
buy.
tool. There's one other tool, and that's the Wayback Machine.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah,
It is
you
a
can go
very
back.
simple thing. If you see a site that wants your money and it's just a month old, or maybe less than a year, right? Look at how it looked a bit before. See if it is legit, right?
Yeah, so but that's the
Research
thing is
its history, but it requires work.
it takes the
Yeah.
end user thinking and go look into it and all that, while before, oh yeah, it's got the lock, I'm fine.
Right.
Which is wrong today. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Glad. I'm glad we solved that.
Yeah.
All right. It's past our time. Anything else? No? Going once? Going twice? No? Oh well. All right. So thanks, Spence. Gal, Nick. Thanks, guys. And good morning, Kathy, Hannah, Nabil, Mac, Norm, Katie, and Donna, and Dina. Thanks, everybody, for tuning into Computers 2K Now. We hope you enjoyed and maybe learned something from our time together. Remember to practice safe computing. Back up your hard drive and update your virus scanner. We'll be back here next Sunday at 9, but you can always reach us at computers2know.com. Tonight at 7, Nick hosts Against the Show. Okay, Against the Show. Against the Norm. Sorry.
New title, man.
Yeah, I know. I
Better.
screwed up. Against the
Welcome to
Norm.
program.
And you can listen to it at atnshow.com. Or if you're in the Wilmington area, you can also listen to it live on 106.7, The Big Talker FM. Listen to it. It's going to be very interesting tonight, I'm told. Well, it's every night. It's every Sunday. It's interesting. But,
Yeah, this is a good one. We got a
Yeah.
good one coming up.
all right. See you next week, everybody.
You are tuned to the Nissan Communications Network. If you tuned in too late, you can always watch each program in its entirety or download an MP3 audio file of it in the archives section at nissancommunications.com. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Twitter, and like us on Facebook. Sponsored by Telestream's Wirecast software, StreamingGear.com, Carolina Apparel, and DeltaForce.net.